You are not where you want to be.
I have to keep going.
Not because you're lazy. Not because you didn't try. But because no one ever taught you what to do with the hours everyone else wastes. There are 2 hours every single day that could completely change your life. Most people sleep through them. This is the story of a man who didn't. His name was Thomas. At 32, he was a night security guard. Until one morning, at 5 a.m., everything changed. What he did in the next 2 hours rewrote the next 10 years of his life. Subscribe and stay with me. This might change yours too. There is a certain kind of person in this world. They do not talk about their goals. They do not post about their grind. They simply wake up before the world does, and they build. Thomas was not always that person. At 32 years old, he was a night security guard in a small factory town. Every evening he went in at 8 p.m. Every morning he came home at 6 a.m., exhausted, invisible, stuck. He was not lazy. That is the part that hurt most. He worked hard every single night. But he was working hard in a life that was going nowhere. His apartment was a single room. A broken fan. A mattress on the floor. One bulb that flickered when the electricity was weak. Every morning, walking home while the town was waking up, he would pass lit windows, families at breakfast, children heading to school, men in clean shirts walking to office jobs. And Thomas would think the thought that haunts every person who feels trapped. Is this it? Is this all my life will ever be? He had tried to change. He applied for better jobs, but without a degree, every door was closed. He wanted to learn new skills, but after working all night, sleep was the only thing his body demanded. The cruelest part was this: he was not failing because he was weak. He was failing because he had no system. Hard work without direction is just exhaustion with a different name. Then one November morning, everything shifted. His sister called. His mother had collapsed. He took the first bus to his village, 3 hours that felt like a lifetime. When he arrived, his mother was lying in a clinic bed, weak, tired, her hands worn from decades of field work. She took his hand. Her voice was barely a whisper. "Thomas, do not waste your life like I wasted mine. Find a way. Promise me." He sat beside her long after she fell asleep, looking at her hands, recognizing something in them, the same exhaustion, the same invisible struggle, just a different generation. He stepped outside into the darkness before dawn. 5 a.m., the village still asleep. Farmers already walking to their fields. Birds beginning to stir. And standing in that quiet, Thomas made a decision. Not a wish. Not a hope. A decision. No more. I will find a way. On the bus back to town, Thomas noticed a man sitting across from him. Well-dressed. Calm. Reading a book. It was 6 a.m. He recognized him, Mr. Chun. A businessman who owned several shops in town. Successful. Respected. Thomas gathered the courage to speak. "Excuse me, sir. Why are you on this early bus?" Mr. Chun looked up and smiled. "Because I wake up at 4:30 every morning. I use this time to read, think, and plan before the world wakes up." "But when do you sleep?" 9 p.m., 7.5 hours. "That is enough." He studied Thomas's tired face. "You work nights?" "Yes." "Security guard. And you sleep 7 a.m. to 4 p.m.? Thomas nodded. Mr. Chun leaned forward and said something Thomas would never forget. "You are awake when the world sleeps. And asleep when the world works. No wonder you feel stuck. Let me tell you the secret that changed my life 30 years ago. The hours between 5 a.m. and 7 a.m., those are the hours that build a life. That is when you do the work that moves you forward, while everyone else is still dreaming." Here is the psychology behind what Mr. Chun understood, and what most people never realize. Willpower is not constant. It depletes throughout the day as decisions accumulate, as interruptions stack up, as the noise of other people's priorities fills your space. But in the early morning, before the notifications, before the demands, before the world pulls at you, your mind is fresh. Your focus is clean. Your discipline is at its daily peak. This is not motivation. Motivation is unreliable. This is biology. And it is available to anyone willing to use it. Mr. Chun wrote his number on a card. If you are serious, call me. I will show you what to do with those morning hours. But only if you are serious. Because it requires a discipline most people are not willing to build. Thomas looked at the card and made a promise to himself. That evening, Thomas called. The next day they met at a small cafe. Mr. Chun opened a notebook and drew a simple image, a house. Thomas, your life is a house right now. Dark. Cold. The foundation is crumbling. And the reason is simple, you have been so focused on surviving that you have never had time to build. He wrote 3 numbers. 2 hours per day. 14 hours per week. 730 hours per year. That is the same as 90 full working days, just from waking up early. In 1 year, you reclaim 3 months that everyone else wastes. Then he laid out the system. Simple. Non-negotiable. Hour 1, 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. Build a skill. Not entertainment. Not scrolling. Learning. One skill that will change your financial situation. Online courses are free. YouTube has everything. You have no excuse. Hour 2, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Build yourself. 30 minutes of movement, walk, run, stretch. Your body is your foundation. Then read. Plan. Review what you learned in hour 1. 3 rules. No exceptions. 1. Rule 1. Wake at 5 a.m. every single day. Including weekends. The moment you start negotiating with your alarm, you have already lost. 2. Rule 2. Sleep by 9 p.m. You cannot steal from your rest and expect your mind to perform. Discipline your evenings so your mornings can be free. 3. Rule 3. The first week will be hard. Your body will resist. Your mind will manufacture reasons to stop. Push through to 21 days, and it begins to feel normal. Push through to 90 days, and it becomes who you are. I am giving you 90 days. Come back and show me what you have built. If you have done the work, I will help you find a better opportunity. If you quit, do not call. Thomas felt the weight of it. But beneath the weight, for the first time in years, he felt something else. Purpose. The first morning, the alarm rang at 5 a.m. Every part of him wanted to stay. But he remembered his mother's hands. He remembered the promise. He stood up. The first week was brutal. His body ached. His eyes burned. Sitting at that small table in the dark, watching Excel tutorials on his phone, it felt impossible. Pointless. Lonely. Nobody understood what he was doing or why. But around day 20, something shifted. He woke up 2 minutes before his alarm. His body had adapted. And for the first time, he did not feel resistance. He felt readiness. This is what science calls habit consolidation, the point at which a repeated behavior stops requiring willpower and starts requiring simply showing up. The neural pathways have deepened. The resistance fades. What was once a fight becomes a ritual. By the end of month 2, Thomas had completed 3 online courses in accounting and Excel. He had lost weight from daily walking. His thinking was sharper. His confidence, quiet but real, had begun to grow. People at work noticed. Thomas, you look different. What changed? I am changing my life. 2 hours at a time. In month 3, Thomas applied what he had learned. He built a simple Excel system to track warehouse inventory, something the company had never properly organized. He showed it to his supervisor. His supervisor showed it to the manager. The manager showed it to the owner. On day 87 of his 90-day commitment, Thomas was called into the office. "We are expanding our accounting department. We need someone who understands our operations and has bookkeeping skills. The job is yours. Daytime hours. Double your salary." Thomas stood there in silence. 90 days ago he was a night guard who felt invisible. Now he was being offered the life he had only let himself imagine in the dark. That evening he called Mr. Chun. "I did it. I never missed a single morning. I knew you would. You have the look of someone ready. Now listen, do not stop waking at 5 a.m. That is not a strategy anymore. That is your identity. I know. This is who I am now." 1 year later, Thomas was the company's lead accountant. His mother had moved to town, receiving proper medical care. He had a real apartment. Real stability. And every morning at 5 a.m., he still woke up. Not because he had to. Because those 2 hours were sacred. That was when he read, planned, and grew. Not to escape his life anymore, but to keep building it. Success is not a destination. It is a daily practice. And mine begins at 5 a.m. Here is what Thomas understood, and what most people spend years learning too late. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is rarely about talent. It is rarely about opportunity. It is almost always about time, specifically, the time you are not using. Between 5 a.m. and 7 a.m., the world is quiet. No one is demanding your attention. No one is filling your mind with their priorities. In that stillness, you belong entirely to yourself. That is where self-discipline is built. Not in motivation. Not in inspiration. In those quiet, unglamorous morning hours when nobody is watching and you show up anyway. This is your challenge. The same one Mr. Chun gave Thomas. Step 1. Tonight, set your alarm for 5 a.m. Put your phone across the room. Make standing up non-negotiable. Step 2. Decide what you will build in your first hour. 1 skill. 1 course. 1 craft. Not 5, 1. Commit to it for 90 days. Step 3. Protect your 9 p.m. bedtime. The enemy of your morning is not the alarm, it is the wasted evening. Cut what does not serve you. Sleep is not weakness. Wasted nights are. Do this for 90 days. You may not become wealthy in 90 days. You may not get promoted in 90 days. But you will become someone different. Sharper. More grounded. More capable. And that person, the one built in silence, in the quiet hours before dawn, that person can achieve almost anything. Thomas had nothing. No degree, no connections, no money. Just a decision. And 2 hours every morning. You have more than he had. The only question is, will you use it? If you are ready to start your own quiet grind, subscribe to this channel. Every week we bring you the mindset, the psychology, and the real stories of people who chose discipline over comfort and built lives they are proud of. Drop a comment below. What will you build in your first hour tomorrow? Because the world is asleep right now. And somewhere, someone is already awake, building the life you want. The question is whether that person is you.